In this video, you're going to get 3 neurolinguistic programming techniques that you've likely never heard of. Does that mean that they're less effective than most NLP techniques? Not at all. In fact, they're powerful and simple to use. You can actually start using them as soon as you learn them and immediately realize just how effective they are. If you want the edge that will take you to greater levels of success, like creating the social life you want or nailing your goals, you're in for a real treat. Why each one of these techniques is so rare and obscure is not the same for each. I'll explain as we go. And of course, I'm going to save the best one for last. So make sure you stick around. I will also show you a resource to help you master NLP. It will elevate your skills, whether you're a beginner or a master practitioner. I've been doing this a long time, yet I'm still surprised by how often I see people teaching NLP incorrectly. There's a lot of bad information out there watering down what true NLP is. What's worse is that they're charging thousands of dollars for it. More on this later. I attended my very first NLP practitioner training 12 years ago. One of the first techniques they taught us was how to anchor resourceful states. For those who don't know, anchoring is a way of associating a state with a stimulus that triggers the state. The purpose of it is to access resourceful states at will. The trigger can be visual, auditory, or kinesthetic. This means that you can anchor with a touch. You can also anchor with a sound just by saying a word. Visual anchors are trickier. I'll save that for another video. When we use anchoring in NLP, we use it to anchor states of calm and openness to learning, for example. So when you trigger the anchor, you instantly slip back into the associated state. Anchoring is something that occurs naturally. The smell of freshly baked bread may bring you back to your grandmother's kitchen, making you feel warm and fuzzy inside. An anchor can be a song that stirs memories of a past passionate romance. You get the idea. We can harness anchors by anchoring ourselves to states that are useful. Imagine being able to tap into motivation on demand and boost your productivity. Or picture yourself effortlessly accessing a state of playfulness when you want. Enhance your creativity to make even the most mundane task enjoyable. Summon focus whenever you need it most. What you can do with anchoring is only limited to your imagination. You can take control of your emotions, overcome self-doubt, and perform at your best in high-pressure situations. All you need to do is link the right triggers to the states you desire. This also means that you no longer have to allow negative anchors to happen to you haphazardly. You're not aware of all the anchors you're carrying around with you right now. Some are positive and some are negative. Knowing how to anchor can help you overcome those negative states. You can then be in an optimal state, especially during those make or break moments. As I was learning anchoring at the first NLP training I attended, I noticed 2 problems. One was that people were having trouble accessing the state to anchor it. And 2, no attention was given to how much intensity of the state was optimal for the practitioner's desired use. Maximum intensity of a state is not always useful. For example, a state of flexibility will be useful in almost any situation, but too much flexibility in a situation that requires assertiveness may let others' ambitions run you over. So as I anchored other students I was practicing with, I told them to imagine a dial, like a knob on a stereo, from 1 to 10. Reach out and dial it all the way to 10, I told them, so they could experience maximum intensity. Then I told them to adjust the knob to the optimal intensities suited for the situation in which they wanted to access the state. It was such an effective technique that it caught on fast. Within a few days, most of the students were using it. Only a few, though, who I had used it with knew where the technique had actually come from. As you may have guessed, you've never heard of the anchor volume control technique because I've never taught it here. This is the first time I've mentioned it in one of my YouTube videos. I've also never given anyone approval to teach it. Where can you learn the full technique? Glad you asked. Remember I mentioned a resource for mastering NLP? In the description of this video, you'll find a link to my Ultimate NLP Practitioner Training. Based on a 24-day training, it's the most complete NLP practitioner program I know of. For the cost of a few NLP books, you can access this training. You also get access to a community of NLP practitioners to practice with. Not only that, you get a live workshop every month. In the next live workshop, I'll be teaching the anchor volume control technique. So make sure you get in so you can attend this workshop. The next technique that you haven't heard of was not created by me. It was created by NLP founder Richard Bandler. Yet despite attending numerous NLP trainings, including with Bandler himself, none taught this next NLP pattern. Have you ever wanted to achieve something, but it required tasks you didn't enjoy? Yeah, I know, that's about 99% of the world's population. Think about it. How many times have you put off important tasks because they felt overwhelming or boring? How many goals have you never reached because you couldn't get yourself to take action? Would you like to change that? Would you like to transform those feelings of dread into an intense desire to take action? What if you could enjoy those tasks as much as you enjoy eating chocolate? You're thinking, I've lost my mind. Maybe, but don't worry, I'll explain. And by the way, if you don't like chocolate, it's okay. All you need is something you desire intensely to make this work. This NLP pattern is like the NLP swish pattern, except there's no swishing. It works by associating images that you feel compelled toward with images of tasks you want to complete but don't like to do. Like the swish pattern, this pattern is simple and easy to use. It also yields extraordinary results. Once you try it, you'll know what I mean. Bandler wanted to create a fun pattern that would make doing tasks you don't enjoy irresistible. So he chose an object that most people find irresistible. He named the pattern the Godiva chocolate pattern. And by the way, I don't find chocolate irresistible. So I replaced it with something I do find irresistible, and the pattern worked just as well. To learn the full technique, you'll also find it in the Ultimate NLP Practitioner training I mentioned. Before I get into the next technique, why is the Godiva chocolate pattern rarely, if ever, taught these days? I don't know for certain, but I can make a good guess. Over the years, the technology of NLP has grown so much, but the duration of NLP trainings has shrunk. As NLP became more of a business, NLP practitioner trainings shrank from 4 weeks long to as short as 1 week. Some institutes even have 3-day practitioner trainings, which is ridiculous. But to the uninformed, it looks more appealing to learn NLP in 3 days rather than 4 weeks. Just remember, though, that it only looks more appealing. You're not going to learn anything in 3 days. It would be a waste of your money. Save it for something better. If the technology is increasing, yet the trainings are shrinking, something's got to give. What gives are NLP techniques like the Godiva chocolate pattern. Lots of great NLP techniques are getting cut out of NLP curricula to shorten the trainings. The shorter the training, the more people are likely to pay for them. Over time, these techniques are forgotten and lost, unfortunately. And people like you who would love to learn them don't even know they exist. Last but not least, this next NLP technique takes future pacing to a new level. If you don't know what future pacing is, it's a fundamental part of every NLP process. It solves the problem when changes you want don't stick. If you've ever made a change, but it didn't last, the problem is often found in the future pace. Whenever you want to make a change, we call the state of wanting change the present state. The place you want to be once you've made the change is the desired state. When an NLP process takes you from the present state to the desired state, we call this an intervention. Future pacing is a way to rehearse the change into the future. This guarantees that the change will stick. I see so many people getting this wrong, even advanced NLP practitioners. You might do a superb job of applying the right NLP technique as an intervention, but if you get the future pace wrong, it will be all for nothing. The change will come undone. Future pacing and congruence to the future you pace are the keys to lasting change. If you've used an NLP process and felt a huge shift only for the change to vanish the next day, now you know why. Before you pop the champagne next time you create a real change for yourself or for someone else, learn and use this technique. Use it to turn your interventions into change you can access now, in the near future, and continuously into infinity. This process creates images of the future changes you want long term. Then it brings those changes closer, almost to the present. It's great for guaranteeing that they hold. It's also great for boosting your motivation to keep those changes going forward. I created the future to near future pace technique to supercharge future pacing. When you learn it, you'll use it to lock in lasting change. Like the anchor volume control technique, you haven't heard of this technique because I haven't taught it here. Once again, this is a process you can learn in the Ultimate NLP Practitioner program. It will be a live workshop that I will teach in the near future. Hope you caught that one. In the meantime, check out this next video so you can find out what the heck happened to NLP.